All right, guys, we're back again. We're leaving another week of the same misery that we did last week, but this time we're joined by good friend, longtime listener, first-time caller, Jeff Dahlberg.
I wanted to say that.
Yep. So, we're going to get into the game. Another miserable Bears loss, 17-27. You know, maybe a little bit more competition this time, but still a really embarrassing loss. But I did want to take a second to talk about what's been circling around. We know that Alan Williams has abruptly resigned.
Yep.
So without going into too many like the high stakes rumors, what do we know so far? I mean, I've just read some articles. This came out like 2 hours ago, as far as I know.
Yeah, multiple reports. We know the original reports say that Hallis Hall and his house were raided, but then quickly after there's reports from Hallis Hall that wasn't raided. So we know there's a lot of kind of missed news out there.
Here's what we do know. Something happened after week 1. He stepped away from the team. Eberflus was calling the defensive plays on Sunday.
Which I never even heard anything about.
Yeah, they announced it on. Well, it was so funny.
Before the game, you knew this?
No, during the game, because I remember they would cut to Eberflus, and I just remember looking at him. He just looked so hot, and he needed to wear a hat. I'm like, why doesn't tell us when he's got to wear a hat? Second half, he had a hat on.
He's gonna get sunburned.
Yeah, I know, but I remember his hair was all wild. He was sweating, and they cut to him. And I just remember thinking someone should tell him to wear a hat, and that's when they mentioned it. That's why I specifically remember.
The only thing that we have from any reputable sources that I've been seeing online is that the Bears are saying that Hallis Hall was not raided, and Peanut Tillman was not involved. As you know, as crazy that would be. How did Peanut Tillman become an FBI agent?
Well,
do we know specifically what he's doing?
Wait, so he was Man of the Year.
Yeah,
you guys remember.
He won the Walter Payton Man of the Year. He's a good guy.
That's what I'm saying. So the FBI is always looking for quality gentlemen to run the bureau.
I heard it's just because of the peanut punch. Basically, they're like, this guy can knock. Just imagine like drug cartel running away with a kilo of cocaine. Peanut Tillman. Yeah. Oh, he's punching that out. 10 out of 10 times.
I'm thinking like a good cop, bad cop, worse insane cop situation where they're interrogating a guy for like 3 hours, is not going anywhere. Good cop, bad cop. They just bring Peanut in and just jack him across the face.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
But if Peanut walked in the room, I would be scared. Like, dude, he's an intimidating guy. Man.
He was a very large cornerback.
He's huge.
Is he big? Okay.
Yeah, he was like...
We're going to do our first aside.
He's one of the taller.
How big is Peanut?
I want to say he's 6'3".
I'm kind of surprised, honestly. I feel like you don't have to retire number 33, but like he was a pretty great player for the Bears.
He was great. He was 6'2", ran a 4.49.
He was good.
And
he can punch like
no
one else.
I'm just saying though, like,
yeah.
like maybe you don't let someone wear 33 for a while. I'm just saying, like,
yeah,
I always like Peanut.
Peanut was right up there with Earl. Not quite Earl, right up there with Lance Briggs for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Regardless, this is just a huge distraction for the team.
Yeah,
and definitely not good for the team. I think it's just an absolute negative buzz that's going around this team right now.
They're already in the dumpster.
I didn't know you can go any lower than right now.
And
then all of this news comes out. Also, if you guys saw, Braxton Jones got put on IR today. That's the Bears starting left tackle.
That's phenomenal.
That's not good.
Yeah.
Because our offensive line has not been good this season.
You don't say.
No, it's been a rough season.
So what has been good for the Bears? Well, let's talk about the game. What do we think about the game against the Bucs? Like, what are your takeaways from the game?
2 good drives.
The first drive was great.
Defense was better.
What do you mean? Baker Mayfield looked like a Pro Bowler.
We did make Baker Mayfield look really good, but they weren't as miserable as they were against the Packers.
Yeah,
I agree. That first drive gave me a lot of optimism.
I was like,
they were hitting some soft. Yeah. They got DJ Moore involved really early, some deep passes, some splash plays hitting soft zones.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Bucs scored their first drive in a field goal, but then they blocked the field goal on the next drive.
Yeah.
So we just feel like we had like the good juju going.
We didn't hold Green Bay to like any field goals.
Yeah.
They were getting in the end zone. They were getting and the other one was when we needed to stop, when we got it to a 1-score game and we needed to stop late, the defense did get a stop. We had the ball with down 3 with enough time back, and the defense did their job. They kept them.
Well, how many times was Baker sacked?
They lost. They held them to 20 points before the pick 6, right?
Right.
No, how many times?
That's not a bad defensive effort.
I feel like the numbers kind of suggest they bended but didn't break.
Wait, no sacks. No sacks for the Bears. I want to see pressures. How many pressures?
Are we sure that's Bears?
Yeah.
No, it's
No, that's sacks, yards lost. So 0 sacks. So the Bears had 6 sacks.
Bears had 6 sacks.
Against them, on them. So gave up 6 sacks.
Are we sure?
They got sacked 6 times for sure.
Okay.
There's no way we did not.
No
we did
times.
not.
Yeah, you're right.
Ngakoue missed a free sack.
Yeah.
He just let Baker get it. They missed like 2 sacks. The pressure, well, they blitzed more. Eberflus blitzed more this game for sure. And they were getting pressure. They were getting the ball out of Baker Mayfield's hand, even though he was getting it to Evans, and he was just destroying our defense.
He was getting it out quick. Baker was like 1, 2, boom, like out.
Yeah.
Not even 2 seconds. It almost was like 1.5. It was a quick release. I don't understand why we can't do that. Like, why can't we just?
Because our offensive scheme is terrible. Yeah. It is the worst offense. Like the play call is terrible. You run 3 straight screen plays.
I mean, yeah.
It's like the general consensus is like, yes, screens are great if you run like maybe 3 or 4 of them a game. Yeah. Really, if they're getting a lot of pressure on you consistently, and a great way to beat that is just a screenplay or just a quick out
or a draw.
But I don't know why they're not running slants and just kind of quick get it out. Like they run this flats play where basically every wide receiver does 3 yards and back, and they complete it every time. They looked at it, they showed it in I watched the highlights, and they literally complete it every time, and they get 5-6 yards, and then there's the opportunity if they break a tackle, they're getting 20. And they never run that. They run it 2 or 3 times a game.
So there is something I want to say. We're gonna come back to the topic of the coaching and the play call and who's really to blame here. There's 2 things that I've said on previous podcasts that I want to point out. And the first one being that when we first talked about Justin Fields, I said what's probably going to happen is they're going to probably try to restructure the way he plays, make him a pocket passer. There's going to be some growing pains, and then either he's going to figure that out or he's going to go back to the way he was playing at the end of last year.
Yep.
I'm looking at the stat line right now, 211 yards. I'm on pace to hit that over for the season.
I'm on it. Hey, I'm on it with you too, man.
4 carries for 3 yards rushing for Justin Fields. Meanwhile, we got Baker Mayfield. And the second thing I wanted to say, we had a big argument of Mac Jones versus Baker Mayfield. I don't think Baker Mayfield looked like a star, but these numbers made him look like a star. He threw 8 incomplete passes, 317 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions.
You want to say bend don't break? Yeah. That's not even bend don't break. That Baker Mayfield looked great.
I want to go back. So his rush attempts. So he tried scrambling a couple times, and they were just. The teams are just. They know that's the one thing they can't let Justin Fields do is they just keep him in the pocket. Unless it's designed for him to get out of the pocket. They had 1 designed run.
I saw that.
I think that the dichotomy here isn't pocket passing versus designed runs. I think what I want to see more of is a little bit more of moving the pocket, more rollout passes. I feel
RPO, man.
Or that, that too. I don't want to see Justin Fields take a snap from shotgun and then be looking to hit the 5 technique. I just want to see him play action and then roll out, be in some space, and I feel like that's where the ones where he can. Where I'm seeing the deep pass. I'd love to see film.
Or the goal line play. It was a great play action that Justin Fields scored on. Yeah. It was a great play action play. He had an option there, but there was also the option for him to call his own number and run it in, and he did that.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's not schemed in the offense more.
So that brings us back. I want to hear what your guys' opinion is. Have you guys seen any of Justin Fields clips or sound bites or interviews from the week?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So basically, I'm listening to a bunch of them right now.
Blame the coaches, which I would blame too.
I think a lot of the clip, the captions and stuff are being sensationalized, but at the same time, sitting down and listening to the raw ones, and I did listen to a couple of them today. He seems like a guy who every other word is he's really trying to bend what he wants to say, and you can tell what he's trying to say is, I'm not getting the play calls that I want.
Yeah.
And
I said it last week. Why not audible at the line? Why not make something else?
I don't know if he has that freedom.
But
Eberflus says he's
the quarterback.
But
he's the quarterback. Eberflus isn't the one taking the snap. And
it simply does not work that way.
Yeah.
It simply does not work that way.
But here's what John's QB1, so
exactly.
He would know.
Yeah, really quick. I looked this up, air yards, because I was just curious, right? So Justin Fields has the second lowest air yards at 295. Only lower than him is Anthony Richardson.
What are air yards?
how far the ball has traveled in the air.
Really?
Yeah. So he's at 235. The only person lower, or 295. The only person lower than him is Anthony Richardson at 232.
Who left in like the second quarter.
I was going to say, and he left in the second quarter. So Justin Fields, not only is he not throwing the ball down the field, which is what I'm saying is the biggest thing in the world, but it's just alluding to all the screens that he's running.
So I want to reel this back to the, are we blaming the coaching on this situation versus are we blaming Justin Fields' situation? And the meme that's been going around that's been put right next to the Mitch Trubisky, like wide open guy in the end zone, and the guy last week, Justin Fields, streaking towards the end zone.
So,
you're behind the pocket. You can't just look at a picture and say that, but at the same time, I don't think Fields looked good.
All right, so
he's not
this is where we're going to get into my little trivia here.
Okay, let's
because I think this is going to tell a story. Because I don't think it's necessarily the coaches, because I feel like the coaches that we bring in, we know, everyone knows they suck.
Yeah.
It's more the owners, basically, or the people bringing these people in. So I brought up a list of our most recent offensive coordinators. And I'd like for you guys to name where they are now.
Okay.
Sure.
So right now we're at Getsy. Before that was Bill Lazor. So
Texans.
Bill Lazor was fired mid-season as the offensive coordinator in Miami. Fired after one OC season in Cincinnati.
This is before the Bears or after the Bears?
Then he was the Bears offensive coordinator. And then he was out of football for 2 years. And where do you think he is now?
Where? I don't know.
You have a guess?
I thought Texans.
I bet he's a QB coach.
Wait, you said?
Texans.
Yeah, he's Texans offensive assistant, not even...
Offensive assistant.
Okay.
I was going to say, probably not back in like the calling the plays for the offense.
But clearly they hire a guy that is not successful in the NFL.
Yeah.
He's gotten fired everywhere. He's went off the short. A mid-season
Before you say
too.
that, so it's like a coaching carousel. Like everyone they rotate. Like Mike McDaniels had 7 jobs before he got to Miami. Is what I'm saying though, and he got fired multiple times. He went to the USFL. Was a head coach there for 2 years. He was out of football for like 860 some days. Like
that's like
the
one
the NFL though is like very much what have you done for me lately? And if you're not performing, you get fired. Like remember Tressman's girls? Like they would just get hated on all the time.
Yeah.
What about all the guys? Remember all the Patriots, like defensive coordinators, offensive coordinators that aren't getting fired? They're just leaving and taking other jobs.
And then the only one who's decent is Mike Vrabel.
This is a spoiler alert. None of the guys that we've hired, other than Matt Nagy, really are leaving other jobs willingly. They're all fired.
Okay, that's the theme.
The theme.
Let's hear next one.
The next one is Helfrich, which was the guy, he was under Nagy. So Nagy was really the play caller there. He was the University of Oregon offensive coordinator, Oregon head coach, then the Bills offensive coordinator. Do you any guesses where he's at now after being the Chicago Bears offensive coordinator under head coach Matt Nagy?
Where is he at?
Kansas City.
He is a broadcaster. He's not even in football.
Is he a good broadcaster?
Nobody wants him.
Is that like on Fox or is he calling like D3?
I think he's somewhere out like west, like Pac-12.
Okay.
But the fact that I don't even recognize his name.
So what was he doing before the Bears?
No, what I'm saying, what he's doing now.
No, but you said because
Are the Bears where people's careers come to die, or are we just hiring people that aren't meant to
really
be
the question,
in football?
Because with the point you're making with the last guys, he was not a good coach.
Yeah, and
we
hired him. Yeah.
I don't know if that, because I remember.
Well, the whole point was where are they now?
Yeah. Okay.
Pointing out that basically you'll see that none of these guys are doing anything great after the Bears. Why are we? They're not good hires.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at their track records. Before the Bears, not good.
Yeah.
After the Bears, except for there's one exception. You'll see it here.
So Mike Martz.
I didn't go back to Mike Martz.
Mike Martz was, I'm not sure how long he lasted. I think it was the Tressman era.
I went post Lovie Smith era.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Mike Martz was definitely post Lovie Smith.
Was he?
Yeah, because Jay Cutler, because there was a famous clip of one of the overhead cameras coming up in the Bears huddle, and he's like, I can't hear shit, or tell him I said fuck him or something.
Yeah, something like that.
In regards to Mike Martz, so I mean.
Yeah.
That didn't work out. But Mike Martz wasn't.
Also, the reason why Greg Olson's not a Hall of Famer with the Chicago Bears, too.
Mike Martz.
I will never forgive him for that. That was awful. But before that was Dowell Loggins. So
no idea.
He was the Titans QB coach. And then when the Titans were pretty garbage. And then he was the Cleveland Browns QB coach with Johnny Manziel.
Oh, that works.
So those were very bad teams, very bad quarterbacks. So guess what? They brought him on as the Bears QB coach, and he eventually got promoted to offensive coordinator. Any idea where he's at now?
Out of football.
No, he's still in football. How about I'll give you a guess of college or NFL?
College.
He is in college.
Okay.
So
D1 school at least?
So he was promoted after Gase left.
Okay.
He was fired by Nagy. He went with Gase to the Miami, and then with Gates to the Jets. And then after that, he was the tight end coach to Arkansas, which, what a downgrade. You're an offensive coordinator in the NFL to a tight end coach at Arkansas.
Yeah.
It's tough.
And now he's the offensive coordinator at South Carolina. So obviously he's getting himself a little bit back
in the SEC.
Yeah, And before that is our most psychopath-looking guy, Adam Gase. Or not psychopath, but like kind of very blank face-looking guy. Yeah, he's got that look.
So I mean, I guess you got to ask yourself: are the Bears doing this themselves? Are we not hiring guys and putting them in positions?
This is the last one, so just humor me. So he had a shitty stint with Detroit when Detroit was terrible. He had an awful stint with. I can't change this. Someone else with San Francisco when San Francisco was like really bad. When we're like, I forgot when the
San Francisco's been good for a while.
No, they
were
like
bad.
Alex Smith days.
Early Alex Smith when Mike Singletary was the head coach. They were really bad. And then he was the Denver offensive coordinator when they're breaking all that record with Peyton Manning. But isn't Peyton Manning really the offensive coordinator there?
He can audible at the line.
It's a fair point.
Yeah.
Who was this?
Adam
Gase.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay.
You went to Miami at some point, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Where is he now?
He's not in the NFL.
Yeah, he's not.
He's not in the NFL?
Yeah, he came over with John Fox from Denver. He went to Miami, the head coach of Miami, then the head coach of Jets. Both of them went to
I say then he went to the Jets too. Yeah, awful.
And he's just out of football.
Yeah. Adam Gase's guy. I remember when he was in New York, and the big criticism was like his offense didn't work for the Bears, his offense didn't work for the Miami. Now he's able to do his own personnel, so it's gonna work.
Okay.
So
I didn't do the same thing with head coaches, but I did the salaries of our head coaches to compare to the rest of the NFL and like what actual good teams pay their head coaches. So can you guys just off the list? So this is 2023. Who are the top 5 highest paid head coaches?
Andy Reid, Bill Belichick.
No, not on it.
Bill Belichick.
Number 1.
I would say Sean McVay.
Pete Carroll.
Sean McVay's number 4.
Yeah.
Pete Carroll's number 3.
Okay. Who else would it be?
Think of someone that just took a very
Mike McDaniel.
A job. No. Mike McDaniel's still young.
Sean Payton?
Sean Payton's number 2.
That's a good guess.
And now you guys are missing number 5. Number 5 is going to be tough. He's actually one of my more favorite coaches. Just played Monday night.
Oh, Mike Tomlin.
Mike Tomlin is number 5. Do you
Longest
know what
tenured
all those coaches have in common?
None of them had a losing season.
They're all been on the same team. Well, not all of them, but
they've all won Super Bowls. Yeah, they've all won Super Bowls.
There you go.
Our bottom 5 coaches, just to run through it quickly, is Kevin Stefanski of the Cleveland Browns.
Sure.
Mike McCarthy for the Dallas Cowboys, who is the outlier here because he has won a Super Bowl.
He has.
Zach Taylor for the Cincinnati Bengals, who's been to a Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. You can say that was like more like kind of on the shoulders of a very hot quarterback and wide receiver because Joe Burrow would not let them lose. Then you have Robert Salah and then Matt LaFleur.
Really? Matt LaFleur is underpaid?
Yeah, and the number 1, the Kevin Stefanski is $3.5 million. Matt LaFleur is $5 million. Can you guys guess how much Eberflus makes?
How much is Tomlin getting paid? I don't think you said that.
Oh, Tomlin, so the lowest of the top 5 is $12.5 million. Okay. The top is Bill Belichick makes $20 million.
I'm going to guess Eberflus gets 7.
I'm going to say 8.7.
He gets $5 million.
Oh, $5 million? Okay.
Do we know how much? All right, Matt Nagy. So it's $5 million rumored, is what he says. But it's pretty. I've seen on a lot of resources that he makes $5 million.
Okay, I mean that's not.
How much Matt Nagy made?
Matt Nagy made
$6 million.
I don't know.
$7 million.
Okay.
Yeah.
So okay, and that was like our big all right, you hire from the set. Like they thought like we're gonna change it, and
I don't think those numbers sound unreasonable.
yeah, John Fox,
He got a payday, didn't he?
$3.5 million.
Oh.
Tressman,
No.
$4.25 million.
Okay.
Huh.
So you can see a little theme that we like to kind of get cheap.
We're skimping on coaches.
We're skimping on coaches. We're skimping on coordinators. We get from the bottom of the barrel of both, and I think it really shows on this team.
That's actually a really good wrap up there.
Because people like to blame the talent, but I'm like, I don't care how talented Justin Fields is with the schemed up plays that they have from this coaching staff. It ain't gonna get it done in this NFL. Calling the same play 3 times in a row does not work now.
I kind of want to give a hot take in the other way.
Yeah.
Because this is coming from, at a certain level, what I want to start seeing from the Chicago Bears is kind of like what we're seeing up north in Green Bay, where they just have a culture established. They have Mike McCarthy there forever. And then they make a quality hire with LaFleur, and they just have a culture established, and they've established a culture of winning. The Belichick thing I know we talked about before. We just have this.
Is that culture just having Hall of Fame quarterbacks though?
I don't know.
To be honest.
No. I think you have a solid foundation. Let me finish this thought here. You have a solid foundation, whereas you've just got a revolving door of head coaches, offensive coordinators, new playbooks, new people running the show. I don't think you ever establish anything. And what I want to see more of is if you decide you're going to hire a coach, I think that you should give them 4 to 5 years. Let them draft a rookie class and see them through that first contract.
Yeah.
Because here's where I did not used to feel this way. Because back I was a big Jay Cutler lover, and I thought at one point we signed Jay Cutler, the biggest quarterback contract in NFL history, but that's not every new quarterback that's good gets the biggest one ever. But anyway, I think I said to Mark, he is going to win a Super Bowl for us. We just got to get the pieces around him. Yeah. And then now he needs a new offensive line, he needs receivers, he needs the coach, he needs an offensive minded, we need Lovey out. All those things happened. Nothing came of it.
Different offensive coordinator every year.
Yeah,
that doesn't happen. Pretty much. It was pretty much every year.
I don't think any player can be good with the sand shifting beneath them so much because this is already this. I mean, Nagy did draft Justin Fields, right?
No.
Well, Nagy. Well, yeah. Ryan Pace drafted him.
Well, it was under Nagy regime.
Nagy regime. Yeah.
All right.
Well, typically the regime is the GM.
Yeah. So Nagy didn't draft Trubisky.
No, he got the job because he was like, only reason why Nagy got the job rumored was because he was like, sure, I can deal with Trubisky.
So
Nagy I can make him.
But Nagy didn't draft Trubisky, and Eberflus didn't draft Fields. I mean, so none of them really like this is my guy, and we know how.
That's part of being.
Well, Ryan, it's not even Ryan Poles' guy if you think about it. Yeah. So this is why, I think that this year might actually be going to Ryan Poles' plan. That we aren't supposed to be good. This is going to be a loaded QB class. We have 2 potential. Right now, do you see what the draft is? It's literally who's the other team with 2 first-round picks? I forgot. Texans.
No, Arizona.
Or Arizona. Right now it's Arizona.
Yeah.
Chicago.
Yeah, so week 16 the Bears and Arizona play each other, and they're going to be facing off 0-15. It's going to be who can suck the most.
Yes. But if the season ended right now, top 4 picks are all yours. I know, but
we got 15 more weeks left.
I'm throwing the sand.
That's going to plan.
I'm throwing that sand on discussion right now because the Bears are not the worst team in the NFL.
Hang on, John.
They're not going to.
Let's talk real quick about the whole...
They're bottom 5.
Let's talk about the whole culture thing, because I agree with that. So I like what they did in Detroit. They brought in MCDC, Motor City Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
Right? And he came in and he's like, I'm changing the culture.
He's biting ankles, man.
Yeah. And
I love it.
He came in and he's like, hey, we're not going to win games right off the bat. But you know what? He brought the right culture and he turned that team around.
Yeah.
Now, do I think Eberflus has it in him to do? Is he an MCDC guy? I don't think so. He's not vocal enough.
But look at what Detroit did with that rebuild, though. The first thing they did is they just loaded up their offensive line and defensive line.
Yeah,
they're building it from the trenches, and that is not what it looks like. I think it's the start of hopefully what Ryan Poles is starting because he drafted a right tackle. Yeah. He drafted multiple defensive tackles. You can see there's an attempt there, but... So, we'll see.
I'm actually taking an Uber home from O'Hare, and I'm talking with the Uber driver who's apparently a big Dolphins fan. And I'm having the same.
What a great fan! Yeah, what a great fan to be.
I'm having and that's what I told him. I'm having this exact same conversation with him, and he's like kind of defending Justin Fields and saying the coach isn't the coach is got to be the one to blame here. And I said exactly that. Like, when have you seen a quarterback who has been miserable have a change in coach, and then all of a sudden they click? Yeah, you can say
actually, yeah.
But that's the example I gave. Yeah. Jared Goff went to a Super Bowl. I mean, he had some down years. He couldn't quite figure it out. So yeah, that is one example.
Baker Mayfield right now.
No, we're not willing to say that.
Hey. Baker, did you hear the quote of the year, the quote of the century from whatever? Is like, Baker doesn't have to build the engine; he just has to drive the car.
I did hear
and that's his thing. He doesn't have to save this franchise. There's already pieces around it. There's not that pressure of Cleveland on him, and I feel like that's why he's playing so good.
But I said Jared Goff, and what the super driver said to me is like Tua. Tua was nobody until McDaniels came.
That's not true. He was a first-round pick.
But he didn't play well.
Did he? But he's also a rookie. I don't know. Like, what rookies really come out? Trevor Lawrence was trash. Trash.
Number one overall pick, the greatest prospect since
was trash as a rookie with an awful head coach, and they bring in an offensive-minded coach to help them with a good offensive scheme.
He goes, those are better numbers than than Fields.
They are, but not. they are, but look at the jump after McDaniels, and what the super driver said to me is like, and I wasn't privy to this, but Mike McDaniels sat down with Tua, had a couple hundred of the plays that Tua just killed it. He said, "This is what makes you great. We need to build off of this."
Yeah.
And that's what the super driver, the guru, the sage that I've spent 20 minutes talking to. He said that's what Fields needs, is someone to look at his these big plays and be like, "What makes you great? How do we build on that?"
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's what good coaches do.
Yeah. They work with what they have, right?
Not try to.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, I understand your point to have your draft class see him through, blah blah blah. But you still inherit a team, and you have to build a competitive team. And the Bears right now, in my opinion, are not a competitive team. They are not watchable. It is the first drive was watchable. Other than that,
there's one other drive that was good.
I mean,
but out of the 6 drives in the middle, they were terrible.
It was awful. It was awful. It was border. Yeah, you're right. That was the fourth quarter drive was decent, right?
Yeah, the touchdown to Claypool. Yeah, the only good thing he's done this season.
I saw him lay a block and
get flagged for offensive penalty.
But still, though, like, at least he came out.
Also,
and he made
let a ball that hit him in the hands I'm sorry. So I think there's 2 players that went to the alma mater Notre Dame that play for the Chicago Bears that are trash, and that is Chase Claypool and Cole Kmet.
But what about the one time you hit on that first touchdown score?
You know what? I'll always like him for that.
I was gonna say
I'll always like him.
One of his 3 touchdowns in his career.
The first touchdown of Cole Kmet's career. Yeah. I didn't even know it was his first touchdown. I paid a $10 first touchdown score that paid out like $980, and it hit. It was awesome.
Right. I mean, you can't.
And I haven't liked him since.
So.
But he sucks.
To put this song in perspective, and I don't think there's a lot that we can really look at positively after these first 2 games, but it's 2 games. I don't like what's coming out of the media from Justin Fields.
It's not good.
I remember very distinctly. I feel like there's been a lot of bad first couple of weeks in Aaron Rodgers' career. I remember that one where the offense was just looking terrible. I remember he just went RELAX, relax, and I would love to have seen that from Justin Fields, just being like, we're gonna get on film.
He doesn't have
it doesn't work.
We're gonna get on film. No, but there's nothing to gain from dragging your coach and dragging your team.
I mean, what do you want
in the press room? You say we're gonna have a good week of practice. We're gonna get in the film booth. We're gonna figure this.
You know what the problem is, John? There was so much hype with Justin Fields. He was the most money was put on Justin Fields to win MVP this year.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, but now it is. We're in week 2, or we just could have been a completely flip of the script, and where everyone they came out and all the expectation they met, and we'd be sitting here having a grand time, and this podcast would be amazing.
That's
why it's going on. There was so much hype around Justin Fields, and he is not only is he not living up to it, but it's embarrassing what they're putting out.
The Bears got hyped up way too much. Way too much.
We were sitting here before week 1, and we're looking at. I literally remember, and they were saying all these numbers. We're looking at the over-unders. I'm like, why do these all seem like overs? That's literally what I said. Yeah. And now we're watching it, and it's like, that's why the lines were set where they were at.
John's going to hate me for this comment, but the Chicago Bears are the Chicago White Sox.
Oh no! I mean, no.
No,
you're completely right. They're the two worst managed teams in Chicago.
Managed. They get every 10 years they'll have a good playoff team that'll underperform in the playoffs, and that's it. I mean, they had their one World Series in 05.
That was 18 years ago.
Yeah, 18 years ago. But then literally from then they've had, what was it? In the pandemic they had the one really good season, underperformed in the playoffs, and they're like, all right, here's our championship window here, and then underperformed. That's the same thing with the Bears and Nagy. They made it to the playoffs and then underperformed.
Yeah, I'm the thing about the Bears is like at this point there's a lot of, at least amongst our friend group, this whole tank for Caleb thing is starting to get some traction.
You started that, and you're the only one doing that.
No, Shane's all about it too.
Shane's on it too. All right, that's 2 out of 12 people. Let's not.
I might say if they're going to lose, they're not beating KC. The spread, you think the spread's going to go to 14 points, 2 touchdowns?
I am saying right now, I think it's a lock at the window is KC minus 12.5 because
that's an absurd line.
But if you look at it, the amount of teams that have covered with over 9-point spreads this season is like literally every team. The odds makers are getting that right. Like they are the teams that are heavily valued are going out there and dominating the undervalued team or the shitty team.
And the Bears are a shitty team.
They are, and
they're gonna get blown out on Sunday.
Exactly,
and it's a 3:25 game again. I hope they don't make it American.
This is the hardest. This is the hardest defense we're gonna play. We're playing so far this season, based on how they're playing Kansas City. Seriously, I mean Tampa Bay's got a good D. Kansas City's defense is firing on all levels. Kansas City's offense hasn't been playing well, but guess what? You have the shitty defense of the Chicago Bears struggling in town. They have to be licking their lips of like, let's get right. This is where offense we start clicking. We put up 45. We put up 65.
It's like week one in college when you pay an FCS school to here's $1 million. Let's kill you. Let's beat you by 40.
I'm too emotional. I'm too close to the situation. I'm not touching this game. The line could be plus 20 Chicago Bears. I'm not touching it.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be awful.
Yeah.
I went standard 1 unit on it, but that's okay, man. Yeah, I can be the only one.
That's it. It sucks.
Just a little couch change on it, you know. That just at this point, what the Bears have showed on film and like literally from week 1 to week 2, there was I guess like maybe a little bit of progress on some stuff. They cleaned up a little bit, but it's also like our competition hasn't been that great.
What do you mean competition? I mean, yeah, they're not good teams that we're losing to. So really quick, let me look at the schedule here. Play the Chiefs next week. I think we all know the outcome of that.
Loss.
Then they play home at Broncos, which...
Loss.
I mean, they're not that good.
Russ is looking better. I think Sean Payton's doing good things
Sean
for that
Payton,
team.
it's just like you got to look at the coaches at this point.
Fine. At Commanders...
Loss. Sam Howell's looking actually pretty good.
I mean, it's not great, right? Then we play home against the Vikings.
I would, if you had a coin, I would flip it, and I'd honestly, actually, no, that's loss.
That's a loss. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Home against the Raiders.
Oh my God.
That could be a win.
The Raiders defense is looking really bad.
That could be a win.
Jimmy G is looking like he's not that guy.
And that's a homecoming. So, I don't know. That could be a win. Then away at Chargers, which is going to be a loss. Away at Saints, which is going to be a loss. Home against the Panthers.
Oh, that's a win. That's 2 wins.
Okay.
They'll beat Carolina.
At Lions, loss. At Vikings, loss. Home against Lions, loss.
I think they'll win 1 game against the Vikings. I don't think they'll get swept by the division.
Okay.
I think the Bears are going to win some games that we're not expecting them to. I don't think...
We got 3 right now. That's huge.
We
already matched last season.
We have to get to 8.
Did you bet the over?
Yes.
On their team? Oh, man. You can kiss that goodbye. Yeah. They got a cash out option already?
No, they're like, you have to pay us more money. To cash out.
Yeah, that's gone. That's kiss that money goodbye. They're not sniffing 8.
So we'll do closing thought for each of us. And the one thing I want to end on is, Justin in one of these bad press clips basically saying that his coaching is making him think too much and he wants to just kind of let it rip. And he literally said, F it, I'm just going to go out there and do my thing. Yeah. So what we're going to see, I think, someone said it in our group chat, bet the overs on rushing for Justin Fields, but I think we're going to see a different style of offense this week, and I think it could be a wild card. So we'll see what it comes out to this week. If we get back to the offense, if we can get back to the Justin Fields that was playing at the end of last season,
It was amazing.
which I didn't want. I want because there's no longevity there.
I mean, let's just show something.
But I think that's what he's thinking. He's like, I've got to, move the needle some way. And, we'll see. I mean, now he does have, not a better offensive line with the injuries and the people being out, but he does have better receivers. So that's where I'm headed at. I think this next week will be telling because we could be sitting in a completely different situation.
Last thing I want to say too about that is I think this is going to be a boat race, and KC's just going to run up the score, right? So I think there's going to be a lot of garbage time for the Bears, and you know what, they're probably playing loose, and they'll get the underneath stuff, and I think his numbers may look good, but I still think Bears lose. Bears don't cover. And they're going to get blown out. But I think his number's going to look good. And hopefully we can be like, hey, in 7-7, Justin can play.
He'll get 250 yards this time rather than 200.
And maybe like 75 rushing yards, right?
Yeah.
We'll see.
Maybe two passing touchdowns.
Whoa,
we'll see. We'll see.
As our first guest, Jeff will give you the last word.
Guys, thank you.
Yeah.
They'll give you the last word.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been a great experience. But
give us a score for this game.
Oh, God. The score on my head will be 42-20, we'll say.
Okay.
42-21.
Are they gonna miss the extra points?
I think that's some field goals or whatever.
Some field goals?
But my closing statements will be that this is I think it's dark times for the Bears. But the good thing, though, is we are so down on the Bears right now, but if the Bears somehow go and beat Kansas City, every one of us in that chat is going to be like, we're winning the Super Bowl. We will flip so quickly on loving these Bears once they start playing well. That's just the thing.
John will taper our expectations.
Yeah.
John will be able to be like, guys, don't get too excited.
They haven't won in a year. It's been almost a year since they've won.
We're at rock bottom in terms of expectation. There's nowhere to go from here. But anyway, thanks for whoever out there is watching. Kevin, we have 50 unique users.
Let's go.
There's only 12.
Let's go right there.
There we go.
There's only 12 people in our fantasy league,
including us.
Yeah, including us. So and we actually got our first dislike on a video last week.
That was me.
Really?
I was really hoping it was just going to be a random. Fuck these guys talking shit about Justin Fields. All right. Well, if you don't know us, like and subscribe. We'll keep making this, and maybe if we make some money, I can get this iPhone tripod camera updated a little bit. Okay.
Will.
Yeah.
All right.
Please like and subscribe.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Nice, dude. Good job.
Good job, guys.